I got something cheesing me off here. This is really peeling my bananas or something. I don't know what it's doing. It's pissing me off. Let's put it that way. So I just did some work on a Dodge truck. It's a new Dodge truck, and it's for a mechanic that lives not too far from me. I'll try to keep this backstory short so as not to lose your undivided attention. So one of the things, this guy, this little dude, he's a Dodge guy. He likes Dodges. And the lion's share of what he does for a living is Dodges. Like, he fixes write-offs and resells them, buys them at an auction, repairs them, resells them. Pretty much 99.100% of what he does is Dodges. A lot of little darts, gets into some Cherokees, now he's getting into some trucks, whatever. A problem we have, we bought one from him a few years ago, a Grand Cherokee. It was a good financial decision because it was cheap, low miles. My wife drives it. It has happened this winter now that there's no heat comes out of the passenger side of this thing. It's kind of warm, but it damn sure ain't hot. It's half of what it comes out of the driver's side, maybe less. So trying to look into it, thinking, you can Google it, it's sensors, it's this, it's that, it's all this other shit. Well, come to find out that it probably is not any of the above. And this is a real common problem with goddamn Dodges. And so the reason that it rears its head in Dodges is a design feature in the heaters. But the same thing is happening to all the major brands, foreign and domestic. Dodge, Ford, Chev, Honda, Volkswagen. It's all the same shit. So what's happening, why he ain't getting no heat on the other side, is the heater core. They say the problem is the heater core. It needs a new heater core. And then that's where the sentence stops. That's the end of it. It needs a new heater core. It's not putting heat to the other side. Well, why would that be? How does that work? Well, Dodges, the heater core, if you don't know what a heater core is, like a little tiny radiator. And it's got a fan in front of it. And it circles the hot water through it. And the fan blows air out. And it blows heat in your car. That's how a heater core works. So what Dodge does on all Dodges, big and small, is they take the heater core and they put two pipes on it. One pipe goes to the left side of the vehicle, the other pipe goes to the right side of the vehicle. That's how you get your dual climate controls on it, on your thingamashizzle, what's this, baba mahoo on the dash there, where you can have your chili hard nipples over here and you can have ball sweat over here. That's how they do it, is they got two different pipes. So they say it needs a new heater core. So in discussing this with Tim, the Dodge guy, so he goes and he's tending to her car. So to change a heater car in the summer, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Anyways, he's tending to her car, so he's talking to Dodge people because we've tried. So he took the sensors left to right, the temperature sensors that are in the heater, to say how hot it is, and he swapped them left to right to see if it's a sensor problem. Didn't change it. So we put them back again where they were supposed to be. So that says it ain't a sensor. It ain't an actuator motor. It ain't a door not working. It ain't none of that shit. So he goes and he's talking to his Dodge guys at a dealership. And they're talking about how, they are selling heater cores. They can't keep them on the shelves because every Dodge made that is 5 years old or older needs a new heater core. And it don't matter what it is. A dart, a truck, an airplane, a helicopter, whatever Dodge makes. If it's got a heater core in it, a fridge, it don't matter. A goddamn ice machine, if it's got a heater core in it, it needs a new heater core. So the reason for this that they come up with, it's not just that they've come up with, but it's what the reason is. And this is what pisses me off, is it's all this whole organic bunch of green bullshit. So what it is it's the antifreeze that you're running in them. Because all these pink and orange antifreezes, now I shouldn't say all, because I haven't researched it to make sure that they all are, but near as I can tell, they are an organic acid something or other. I think they call them an oat antifreeze, OAT, organic acid, tits on a wild boar. I don't know what the hell the T stands for, and I don't give a shit what the T stands for. Anyways, the problem is that it's an organic antifreeze, because I guess everybody just takes and pours their antifreeze into the river, I guess. I don't know, so they made it organic. But it don't matter, because you still can't take it out of your car and boil hot dogs in the shit and eat them, so what the hell difference does it make? So what's happening, just a minute, what's happening is over the course of a bunch of cycles and not even that many miles. So my wife's, what the hell, the toilet she drives, her Jeep, it's got 130,000 kilometers on it. So for you, that's like 80,000 miles. I don't know, something like that. 90,000 miles, 75,000 miles. It ain't all that much. And I don't know how old the damn thing is, 5, 6, 7 years old. I don't know. So what happens with this bullshit antifreeze, and I know it's the orange stuff, and I believe it's the pink stuff, and I don't know about the yellow stuff, but it's an organic shit. And all the big companies are using this organic shit antifreeze. So what happens is the antifreeze is separating, and it's a powder is settling out of it. That's mixed in when they make it, stays suspended for quite a while, but it starts to separate. And what happens is it collects in the different, like I'm sure it'll be collecting in the bottom of the block, it'll be collecting in the corners of the heads, and it collects in the heater core, especially because the heater core is smaller, so once it gets deposited in there, there's not very much fluid flow through there because it's so small that you're not getting the volume through it to pick the shit out of there. So what's happening, and all Dodges are done the same. The top half of the heater core goes to the left side. The bottom half of the heater core goes to the passenger side. So as that heater core fills up with this shit, well, you lose the heat to the passenger side because there's no more hot water getting down there because it's full of powder. And that's what's happening. And in finding this out, Tim tells me that he's been surprised in quite a few of the vehicles that he's bought that didn't have a ton of miles on them. And he takes a lot of radiators and a lot of shit out because everything gets wah-bang into the front, so he's got to change all that shit, right? So he's noticing when he's taking out all these radiators and stuff, he's seeing in the lower rad hoses, it's like a white powder, and he's rubbed it in his finger, and at first he was thinking that it had to be some kind of a stop leak powder. And so he's thinking to himself, he thinks, why the hell, this thing is pretty damn new and it doesn't seem to leak. Why would somebody be putting powder into the antifreeze in a vehicle that's only got 20,000 kilometers on it to stop leaks? Doesn't make no sense to me. Well, that's not what it is. It's this goddamn antifreeze starting to separate already, and it's starting to fill stuff up. Oh! And everybody uses it. I did a quick look at which vehicle manufacturers use organic antifreeze, and they all do. All North American ones do, and 3/4 of the European cars use it. And the same goddamn thing is going to happen to every one of these pieces of shit on the road. And it's son of a bitch. So to put a new heater core in my wife's car, do you know roughly what that costs? A guy who works out of his own property out here as a mechanic, he has an AC machine because you got to evaporate the AC, and you got to take the whole dash out. Have you ever looked in a new car and looked at the dash? It's all got to come out of there. Every last wire, every last piece of everything you're staring at has to come out of there, because you know how they make a new Dodge? They take the heater core and they suspend it in animation, and then they build a car around it. They're dirty sons to bitches, and I don't know what it's like getting a heater core out of Fords and Chevs, but you're going to need to do the same goddamn thing, because that's what they're doing. Whoa, man. So for this dude to do it, and he's not charging dealership $785 an hour prices, he wants a little over $1,000 to change the heater core in it, because it's going to take days. And the only reason that you got to do that, there's nothing wrong with the heater core. It's full of shit, and you can't flush it out because the shit gets so packed into that heater core that the dealerships already know that it's not going to work to flush it. And you can't just drain this new shit out and replace it with regular antifreeze, that, you know, the green stuff that lasts for 722 years, because the two of them ain't going to mix together. They say that it's going to start to gel it, and it's going to turn into jello in your cooling system, because the two aren't compatible with each other, because the one's got the chemicals in it and the other one's made out of goddamn strawberries and blueberries and son of a bitch and banana peels. So apparently the only way around it is to take your vehicle, and while it's only got 222 kilometers on it, take it somewhere and have the cooling system flushed out. And I mean, you got to have that cooling system flushed out, because you can't leave a little bit of that other antifreeze in there. And these Dodge trucks, like, I got the parts around here, so I just did some paint work on this Dodge truck, and it's got 600 clicks on it. And I'm thinking maybe I should buy that thing because it's half the price of new and it's still brand new. Well, apparently Dodges, they got little radiators underneath them to cool the transmissions and to cool this and to cool that. There's little cooling systems and radiators plumb all over that son of a bitchin' thing. And so in order for you to get all that stupid shit antifreeze out of there that's in there that's going to cause a problem, I mean, how are you going to make sure that you get all that out of there? In order to flush the system, they say you would have to completely evacuate the system, then you would have to flush it through. Then all these other coolers, well, you'd have to disconnect all of them, and you'd have to flush all them individually. Then you'd have to flush all the lines. And you better make sure that you get every last drop of that antifreeze out of there before you go putting in a real antifreeze that's going to last more than 2.5 weeks. You rotten sons of bitches. So that's where all this green revolution is getting us. It's a bunch of bullshit. And if you got a vehicle, and you probably do, a good portion of you is, that's been made in the last 10 years, well, holy shit, you better start checking into things. Or maybe just ignore it and hope for the best, I guess, because what else are you going to do? I mean, like, you got your tits in a vise over it. You got your balls in a sling. You got your, well, what else you got? You got your wiener slammed in the freezer door over it. I don't know what else you got. What else you got? You got a boot right up the arse over it, and there's nothing you can do about it, because that's what they done. And nobody thought nothing of it until a bunch of years later, when vehicles start coming in and everybody's looking at them going, well, the heater core doesn't leak. Why would it need a new heater core? And then they pull the thing out, and the bottom tube's full of shit. Well, where did that shit come from? So the bottom line to all that is, now that we live in a world where it costs you $15,000 a month just to get out of bed every morning and to put a pair of socks on that probably got holes in them because you can't afford new goddamn socks because of $13 a pair. Well, now you got to slip a G note aside so you can put a new heater core in your car. You know how much it takes to put a heater core in that Firebird behind me? It's about 6 nuts, and the son of a bitch falls down and hits you on the foot. You don't got to take the dash out of that son of a bitchin' thing. So I don't know. That's it. I just had to, and maybe this can be an infomercial, something, I don't know, a warning to you. If you don't know this, you can even Google it, because I Googled up organic antifreeze and I found it. And I mean, they don't tell you that. Like I said, when they tell you that your car needs a new heater core, they don't tell you it needs a new heater core because the antifreeze plugs it up. And then as soon as we put new antifreeze back in your vehicle, it's going to start plugging up your new heater core too. And if you change that heater core, it's going to start plugging up the heater core after that. And eventually your engine block and your cylinder heads and everything else, they're all going to be full of shit. So then what? I'm just getting pissed or off or even just thinking about it. So that's it.